Let's start with our top story at this hour. Now, Assam, where in fact the third day of the massive crackdown on the child marriages that began on Friday, although the number of people being arrested has drastically come down, but the Chief Minister of Assam has made his mandate very, very clear. He is absolutely unapologetic about it. In fact, the Chief Minister has said that his aim is to make Assam child marriage free by 2026. The year Assam goes to next assembly polls. This despite women in rural areas protesting outside police stations after their husbands were rounded up. Ratandeep Chaudhary with this report.
Massive protests by women outside police stations in Assam's Dhubri and Morigaon districts. Days after the state police started cracking down on child marriages, arresting over 2,000 people across the state and filing 4,000 plus criminal cases. The highest arrests are in the Bishwanath, Dhubri, Barpeta, Kokrajhar and Hojai districts. Protesting women say the arrests have left them helpless with nowhere to go.
আমার স্বামী কোনো বিয়া টিয়া কিচ্ছু করে নাই, কাজীও না, মলনাও না, মুক্তিও না। বিনা দোষে আমার স্বামীকে নিয়ে আইছে। বিনা দোষে আমার স্বামীকে মাসেই করে দিছে। ওই জন্য আমাকে আমার স্বামী আমার ছাড়া করে নিয়েছে। আমি এখন বাচ্চা নিয়ে কিভাবে বাড়ি থাকি, কিভাবে চলি?
But Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has said the clampdown against child marriages in the state will continue. This despite opposition leaders slamming the Assam government and calling its actions biased.
देखिए ना कि ये पिछले 6 साल से बीजेपी की सरकार है वहाँ पर, और 6 साल में उन्होंने क्या किया इस बारे में, तो ये इनकी नाकामी है। दूसरा ये कि आपने कितने स्कूल खोले वो बताइए। तीसरा ये है कि जब आप इन पर एक्शन ले रहे हैं तो जिन लड़कियों का विवाह हो गया, निकाह हो गया या शादी हो गई जिस किसी धर्म के मुताबिक, उन लड़कियों का क्या होगा? और ये जो आसाम में बीजेपी की सरकार है वो मुसलमानों के खिलाफ है, बायस्ड है।
You see, in Assam, child marriage is rampant. So today we have arrested more than 2,000 people for marrying girl below 18 years of age, और ये चलते रहेगा। 2026 तक हम असम से ये child marriage completely खत्म कर दूंगा।
In this massive crackdown, Assam police is investigating into over 4,000 FIRs of child marriages, and in this more than 8,000 people have been named as accused. Of them, in the first phase of the crackdown, police is looking for at least 3,500 people. But top police officials have told that many of them have already absconded. In Guwahati, Ratandeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Let me go across to my colleague Ratandeep, who is joining us at this moment for more details on this. Ratandeep, while the opposition says that this is against a particular community and it is also creating an atmosphere of fear as far as Assam is concerned, the Chief Minister seems to be determined about carrying forward this exercise. But the question is, how can any law be implied or being imposed in retrospective manner?
That's right. In fact, that is a question. But the Chief Minister says that, for years together, nothing has been done in terms of, this rampant child marriages in Assam. In fact, when he first declared about the crackdown, he said that this was necessitated because, Assam has a very high maternal mortality rate, which is highest in the country, and his health department at one point of time had told him that some strict action has to be taken against child marriages, because in their own survey they had found that child marriages contributes to teenage pregnancy and early age pregnancy, and that creates a lot of problems and leading to not only deaths of mothers but also infants. So he also gave this logic when he tried to explain why he is doing so. But what is important here to understand that how did they figure out this 4,000 cases? So when we asked the DGP of Assam, he said that they have been for the last 3 months trying to look at each of the SPs of the districts have been trying to look at inputs from the local headmen as well as the previous cases, and they had made this a directory of over 4,000 cases which are in the last 3 years. So they're just looking at the cases which are in the last 3 years and trying to nab people associated to in those. There are over 8,000 people who have been named as accused in these cases, but not everybody will be arrested. About 3,500 people are the key accused who they want to arrest. There would be people who who would be associated and to whom only notices will be sent. Now, among these cases also there are two types of cases. In the cases where the girl who is married off is more than 14 years will be tried under the Prevention of Child Marriage Act, but below 14 years will be under POSCO Act. So there would be cases where people would be behind bar for a long time.
Right. Thank you, Ratnadeep, for joining us with all those details. We'll keep coming back to you for more. This is turning into a big political battle as well. Asaduddin Owaisi also jumping into this politics, and also, as many have been saying, that the Chief Minister of Assam preparing the pitch for 2024 and, of course, for 2026 Assam polls. Moving on to the other big story, in fact, the biggest international headline, the Biden administration lauded the Pentagon for shooting down an alleged Chinese spy balloon off the United States Atlantic coast on Saturday. But China angrily voiced a strong dissatisfaction at the move and said it may take necessary response to the U.S. action. This is the latest flashpoint in the tense environment, the tensions between Washington and Beijing. The craft spent several days flying over North America before it was targeted off the coast of the southeastern state of South Carolina with a missile attack.
The China balloon over U.S. airspace at 60,000 feet, a spy balloon, according to the Pentagon, being shot down by U.S. F-22 Air Force fighter aircraft on Saturday into the Atlantic. 8 days after it first entered U.S. airspace, first spotted north of Aleutian Islands on 28th January, the size equaling 3 buses.
Wednesday, when I was briefed on the balloon, I ordered the Pentagon to shoot it down on Wednesday as soon as possible. They decided, without doing damage to anyone on the ground, they decided that the best time to do that was as it got over water outside within the 12-mile limit. They successfully took it down, and I want to compliment our aviators who did it, and we'll have more to report on this a little later. Thank you.
China hit back, saying U.S. response was an overreaction and that their civilian airship accidentally strayed into the U.S. airspace. Defense Ministry of China has said that U.S. insisting on using armed force is an excessive reaction and that the response violates international convention. China has claimed the right to use necessary means to respond. The fallout of the alleged spy balloon, which was first not made public and tackled with backdoor discussions, had almost an immediate impact on the already strained U.S.-China ties. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken called off his visit to China earlier this week, a visit that could have set stage for a possible meeting between the U.S. President Biden and Chinese Premier Xi. According to officials, the balloon had first entered U.S. airspace on 28th January before moving to Canadian airspace 3 days later and re-entered the U.S. on 31st January. The object was spotted in the U.S. state of Montana, which is home to a number of sensitive nuclear missile sites, and became a major flashpoint between the U.S. and China.
Now, if you are planning to travel to the United States, we have some good news for you. The United States has a new visa plan to cut the massive visa wait time that especially many in India have been facing the difficulties with. with an aim to cut down the delays at visa processing in India, which is already over 500 days. The United States Embassy in India has launched a new initiative. All right. In fact, while the United States is launching a new initiative, let's just talk about politics in the country now. The Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti, the BRS, the new and national avatar of Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, TRS, today held its first rally outside the state of Telangana. In Maharashtra's Nanded, the rally was helmed by Chandrasekhar Rao himself and marked a new step in Telangana Chief Minister's national ambitions after his mega rally in Telangana itself last month, in which he invited other opposition chief ministers as well.
Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, who has renamed his party for his national ambitions, starting his journey with the BRS's first rally outside Telangana in Maharashtra's Nanded, which is across the border and has a chunk of Telugu-speaking population. On the national stage, Mr. Rao and his party coined the slogan, "Ab ki baar Kisan Sarkar," a pitch to farmers across India.
हिंदुस्तान में पहली बार किसी पार्टी ने कहा है वो बीआरएस पार्टी है, अब की बार किसान सरकार। जब भी चुनाव आता है ना, चुनाव आने पर क्या हो रहा है, किसी न किसी पार्टी जीतता है, किसी न किसी नेता जीतता है, लेकिन जनता हारता है। अब कुछ उल्टा होना चाहिए। आगे चुनाव जब भी होगा, जनता को जीतना चाहिए, वो किसानों को जीतना चाहिए। हमारे समस्याओं का वही समाधान है। इस देश में सरकार किसने चलाया? 75 साल में ज्यादा से ज्यादा समय, 54 साल, 54 इयर्स कांग्रेस ने हुकूमत की इस देश में। 16 साल नंबर 2 स्थान पे भाजपा हुकूमत किया। अगर कोई कसूरवार है तो ये दो पार्टियां ही है।
The BJP has said KCR's national plans will fizzle out, but the BRS says they are looking at pan-India groups like farmers' bodies, trade unions and civil society groups, where KCR's party may have more traction and present an alternative welfare development and political agenda.
इनका जो है बहुत अच्छा ये है, उधर गवर्नमेंट अच्छा चल रहा है। अपने महाराष्ट्र में आज तक किसी ने गवर्नमेंट ने चावल फ्री नहीं दिया और सस्ता नहीं दिया।
Sources say KCR is also planning a grand meeting in Delhi in the next few weeks as a show of unity among non-BJP, non-Congress parties, and wants to invite Bengal's Mamata Banerjee, Bihar's Nitish Kumar, besides the leaders who have already been on stage with him in the last few months. With Kanhaiya Khandelwal and Uma Sudhir, Usama Shah for NDTV.
Meanwhile, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee-led Trinamool Congress unveiled its manifesto in Agartala on Sunday afternoon. This comes a day before Mamata Banerjee's arrival in the northeastern state to kick off her party's campaign, where the party has declared 22 candidates for the upcoming polls in Tripura. The Trinamool Congress manifesto reflects its governance model in West Bengal with a focus on welfare and social upliftment. Several successful schemes in the Bengal government have been included in the manifesto for Tripura, where the party is contesting on its own. Meanwhile, former Pakistan president and military chief, army military dictator Pervez Musharraf has died at the age of 79. He was in self-imposed exile in Dubai, where he was undergoing treatment for rare illnesses. Now, in fact, the family says that Mr. Musharraf showed no indications of recovery from taking power in a coup in 1999 to being the president for around 7 years in Pakistan. He has lived a life of many controversies, including being seen as the man and the architect of the Kargil War.
He was known as the architect of the Kargil War, the man who ordered his soldiers to enter India to cut off Leh from Srinagar. In the war that followed in the summer of 1999, Pakistani soldiers whose presence he denied were decimated in the high mountains of Kargil. It was a catastrophic military failure for Musharraf, who had pushed forward with the plan keeping his Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif mostly in the dark. Almost unbelievably, 2 years after Kargil, Musharraf emerged stronger than ever.
The main issue of whatever happened at Kargil was the issue of Kashmir, which is in the limelight now, and it has brought to fore one major issue that Pakistan and India cannot go to war, must not go to war. Therefore, disputes need to be resolved, and this is the international concern.
It was as president that Musharraf came to India in July 2001. Would the architect of Kargil change his stripes to bring peace between the nuclear neighbors? Would Atal Bihari Vajpayee's leap of faith, his second after the Lahore summit of January 1999, be successful? An entire generation watched every moment of the summit with a prayer for hope and peace.
I think all of us have been impressed and taken the message that you're a soldier, you've come here, you know what it feels like to fight a war, and that you have a great concern for the people of Kashmir and the will of the people of Kashmir. You condemn the security forces in Kashmir and some of the actions against civilians. What about innocent people at a bus stop and a militant's bomb killing them? Your concern for the will of the people of Kashmir is understandable. But you're a soldier and you haven't been elected in Pakistan. So without the will of the people of Pakistan, how are you so concerned about the will of the people of somewhere else?
If you look at any freedom struggle anywhere around the world, its history, there is so much of suffering of innocents. And that is applying in Kashmir also, unfortunately.
Agra was a disastrous failure. The negotiations broke down and collapsed. For many around the world, the true nature of the Pakistani deep state and its link with terror progressively became much more clear.
Frontier province mein.
But the general kept fighting. He declared a state of emergency in 2007. His soldiers entered the Supreme Court of Pakistan, arrested judges were detained, television channels went off air. On the 18th of August 2008, Pervez Musharraf announced his resignation. 5 days later, he left for exile in London.
Running a country means only two things: welfare of the people and development of the state. Period. What didn't I do? Tell me one thing on these two issues. So people got bogged down in peripheral issues which do not really, you have to understand what is the gauge of deciding what is the quality or standard of a leader, how well or how badly somebody has governed. We just pass remarks on one odd incident, whether it is Bukti or Red Mosque or any assassination. These are one issue. You don't judge 8 years' performance on one issue.
But the Musharraf chapter in Pakistan's politics didn't end there. Like so many other leaders, Musharraf too staged a return from exile. He had vowed to do this, his goal to seek the presidency in 2013. When he returned to Pakistan on a chartered Emirates flight in March 2013, he delivered a short public speech at Karachi airport. 2 days later, the general was arrested on charges related to the arrest of judges, which he had ordered when he was president back in 2007. Under house arrest, Musharraf faced a deluge of cases. In December 2019, a special court in Pakistan sentenced General Pervez Musharraf in absentia to death for suspending Pakistan's constitution in 2007, a symbolic order since Dubai doesn't have an extradition treaty with Pakistan. Musharraf challenged the order, and on January 2020, the Lahore High Court annulled the death sentence and held the earlier trial to be unconstitutional. But the general was never to return to Pakistan, with his health progressively weakening. A rare condition, amyloidosis, had caused his organs to malfunction.
Let's get you this story of high-handedness by the police in Madhya Pradesh. A police officer in the state was caught on camera assaulting a man in front of his family during a routine traffic check in Shahdol district of the state. This was on Sunday. The video of the incident has gone viral on social media. According to the police, the man and his family from Chhattisgarh were on their way to attend a funeral of a relative in Shahdol. They were signalled to stop near a checkpoint by the police officials due to the high speed the vehicle was travelling on. Now, after the vehicle, in fact, skidded and stopped, the police, in fact, the following police officials checked the vehicle, the papers, and found out that the pollution certificate was missing. This led to some sort of an altercation where a man, in fact, who has been beaten up was recording the policeman's behavior. This enraged the police men and the cops on the duty, and they started thrashing this man on camera.